What is up, IDP Army? It's me, your man, Jordan Rains, back again. We are on to week 2 of the fantasy football season. Oh, I don't know if it's... What's up, IDP Army? It's me, your man, Jordan Rains, back again. We are on to week 2, y'all. Fantasy football season is upon us. Hopefully, you went out and got a cheap win week 1. If you didn't, hey, you're only down 1. We got to make sure you get those wins this week. So I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about how I'm looking at the top end of my IDP rankings this week. Hopefully, you were able to check out the waiver wire show and maybe snag a couple of gems that were sitting out there. I posted that on Tuesday or Monday night. So, yeah, hope you guys got that. But let's get right to it, eh?
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Oi. Okay, I see there's already some people in the stream. If you're watching that, if y'all have questions, hit me with them. I'm not going to drag this out too long. I'm not going to take you through my top like 50 or 60 guys. I'm just going to give you the top guys. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit of who's fallen off or who's been had a paradigm shift now that we've seen real NFL football in the way I'm viewing them, who's gone up, who's gone down. Talk a little bit of, news and some storylines that we're going to watch going into week 2, as well as ones, that have happened. So for some news, first and foremost, news yesterday, DeMarcus Lawrence was injured in practice. He broke his foot, guys and gals. So that injury has been being monitored. I put that into the index as soon as I saw it. I have an injury tracker in there now. You should check that out. But within 2 hours of that being added, it came out, as a broken foot. He's going to miss a lot of time. They didn't say it's a season ending, but a foot injury, a broken foot for a pass rusher, somebody that's, using a lot of power. Man, he was looking really good week 1. It sucks. It just sucks for this guy. But so he's going to be out indefinitely for a little bit. That's unfortunate. I was also going to make him a guy to target, but if you're going to miss time, obviously he's not going to be very useful. So that's a big piece of news. Other injuries that we've kind of been tracking, Darius Leonard did not participate today with an ankle injury. I saw also Kwity Paye, same team, was not participating. I didn't see exactly what he was sitting out for. Randy Gregory, another defensive end for the Cowboys, sitting out with COVID. Bradley Chubb was a late scratch this last week as well with an ankle injury. He came in this week, had limited practice. I believe I saw today. Was just looking at that. So I don't know. He practiced all last week too, and they didn't play. So I have concerns. He was my super sack lock of the week. Yannick Ngakoue, hamstring injury. Gonna have to monitor that. Carl Nassib is definitely getting a boost in the rankings because of that. He had a forced fumble on Lamar Jackson the other night. Max Crosby looks like he is taking a third-year leap in a big way. So, he's a guy that I would have brought up for waivers or should have brought up for the waiver show. But, Nassib, if he's out there on your waivers, go pick him up. Looking like he could capitalize on the Yannick hamstring injury, which being a hamstring, who knows how long this is going to linger. Alex Highsmith, he did have the groin injury. He ended up playing. Tyrann Mathieu sat out with COVID. Marcus Davenport, pectoral injury, going to be out for a little while. Dre Greenlaw, the groin injury, I haven't seen anything on that. And then the last thing I was really watching was the hamstring injury for Frank Clark. So you have to monitor these throughout the rest of the week. Some of these guys are guys that are going to be big hits if they aren't playing. Some of them are going to be a little less so. Maybe you were just hoping they would pan out. So just wanted to bring those up quickly. Make sure you smash the subscribe button if you are on YouTube. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Comment down below anything or any players or any news that you think might be worthy for anybody that sees this before the week comes out. Guys, quickly, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. I mean, our channel really has taken off the last couple of weeks, months. I mean, it's been a slow grind if anyone who's been around since the very beginning. I mean, this is our 3rd year doing this. So it's good to see a healthy, robust moving forward of the IDP fantasy community. So appreciate that. Other situations I'm monitoring going into this week, Zach Collins did not play a lot of snaps at linebacker this week, which was very troubling, especially since during the preseason he was out there all the time. They had him wearing the green dot even. So that's a bummer. Some part of me thinks that maybe they just wanted the veteran out there for the veteran presence and Jordan Hicks, which makes sense. They wanted that last year with Isaiah Simmons. Um, but man, I was bought in again. I bought into another rookie linebacker, Jamin Davis, another rookie linebacker I really bought into. Didn't play the 100% of snaps. Again, that went to the veteran Cole Holcomb. Not saying that these guys couldn't see that flip flop as the season goes on, but as of right now, instead of being maybe linebacker twos confidently, we're looking at them more as threes/flexes. Not saying you can't play them, but you're not going to be anticipating, um, a lot of snaps from these guys right now because we haven't seen it. They are being divvied up to other people, other places. Danielle Hunter, this is a big one. I was going to bring this up on the Monday show. I should have brought it up. Played 87% of snaps. He ended up with a sack. Dude's healthy. He's healthy. He's ready to go. So he's back in my top. You'll see him in the defensive line rankings. He's a top defensive line player for me this week. I just wanted to see if he could get out there for a whole game, and he did, and not just not a 50-60% snap share. Not even 70. I mean, 87%. That's big for any defensive lineman. That's huge. One of the highest snap shares of any player at that position. So, Danielle Hunter, if you can still go get him at a discount, do, because he's going to put up another season like he has been doing before he went out this last year. So if you're watching this, tonight we have a lot of IDP goodness in tonight's game. This is a Thursday night game. A lot of people on offense are going to be bummed because Ryan Fitzpatrick is not playing. Antonio Gibson probably getting a downgrade. Terry McLaurin's probably getting a downgrade. The New York Giants, they suck offensively. But if you're an IDP head, this game is balls to the wall, basically. I mean, we got so many hitters out here. We got Montez Sweat. We got Chase Young. We got Xavier McKinney. We got Leonard Williams. We got Blake Martinez, okay? And that's not even to mention my dude, Jabril Peppers. Hopefully he comes in and makes an impact. Then you got Cameron Curl, who I was just talking about, is losing snaps to Bobby McCain right now, but Landon Collins didn't play well either. Another IDP stalwart. So there's like 8 to 10 IDP players that are probably going to be started in this game tonight. And it's funny to contrast that with the fact there's probably 3 offensive players. So for a Thursday night, you're probably going to hear a lot of whining and a lot of like on Twitter. If you hear this before then, this game sucks. Heineke sucks, blah, blah, blah. I wish this was a better game. But if you're playing IDP, you already know you got your eyes on this game. Danny Dimes going to be turning that ball over like a machine. Heineke's going to come out here. We're going to see how he performs on a short week against the New York Giants defense that's supposed to be better, So it's going to be a fun game for defense. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. Got to say I'm fading Cam Curl just a smidge though, because his snap share is not as high as I liked it to be. I think by the end of the season it's going to be up where it should be. I think he's going to continue to be productive, but and they really like what they got with Bobby McCain right now. So Landon Collins did not play well, so I would watch that. Tonight's going to be an interesting game to watch for defense. So other things I want to talk about. Just to make sure you tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm doing the fades and sleepers, as well as my super sack lock pick and then my underdog stack of the week. So come check those out. Didn't do well last week because I was heavy on Green Bay. Okay, but I'm just going to chalk it up to week 1. Was unlucky. But come check that out. And I got a couple questions here. I'm going to answer them real quick, and then I'm going to do the rankings. So what we got here? What's Parsons' value now? Lawrence injury, more DE snaps. I wouldn't say more DE snaps. I mean, it could be potentially. It could. I'm not saying it won't. Could, but I'm not saying it will. That being said, he did rush the passer. Parsons did rush the passer quite a bit the other night. I think he only had 2 less. He had 2 or 3 less pass rush snaps than Devin White, and I think he had the same number of pressures. So he was getting similar pass rush usage as Devin White. If you played IDP last year, Devin White was the GOAT. So there's upside there. Tackle heavy league. Risk it with Simmons or play it safe with Anthony Walker or Chris Barnes. Okay, when you say Simmons, you mean Isaiah Simmons or Justin Simmons? Either way, I would probably play both of those players over Chris Barnes. You said tackle heavy league though, so that makes it a little more interesting. I'm still playing the guys that are going to be money players. Justin Simmons or Isaiah Simmons, you're going to want to watch them play football a lot more than you're going to watch Chris Barnes play football, straight up and down. That's kind of how I would view it. Maybe that's a poor insight. I don't know. Tackle heavy. I mean, I just don't know what's going on with these linebackers in Green Bay. So I'd rather play players I kind of know what's going on with them. YNSMJ, Woods or Lockett rest of season. Lockett, easy. New to IDP, 1 DL, 2 LB, 1 DB, 1 IDP flex. Current linebacker is our Parsons, Queen, and Milano. That's a good setup right there. Somebody dropped Schobert. Should I pick him up? Bush is also available. Yeah, you should. You can drop Milano for Bush or Schobert. And if you're playing a pure snaps based game, you can drop Queen too. But that's a little tougher because Queen's an impact player. Schobert's a beast impact player too, though, and he gets massive tackles. I know this last week was his first week with the Steelers. He didn't play the full snap share, but I think that's like a week 1 thing, and that's going to go away. That's what I think. I mean, Bush and Schobert are both good. If I had to pick between the two, I'm going Schobert. If you just want to pick up one, and you can cut Milano. Stay Kenny Young or Devin Bush. Ooh, man, that's tough. Devin Bush has got the name value. Kenny Young has got the spot that has been heavily productive for IDP linebackers. So that's tough. And then there's a world, too, where we're looking at Devin Bush as the 2 on his team. Again, this is still kind of projecting because it's very early in the season. Kenny Young is kind of the 1 of 1 on his team. So you're backing me in a corner on this one, but I'd probably go Kenny. No, I'm going Devin Bush. Come on. Devin Bush. I don't even care. Any thoughts on Khalil Mack? I started a deal week 1, and he nearly laid a goose egg for me. That'll happen with Khalil Mack, my guy. He's a big pressure guy. Big pressure guy. Not so big on getting sacks. Not so big on getting tackles anymore either, really. Not so big on getting tackles for loss. He gets a lot of pressures. So you're playing with fire with Khalil Mack. Fun stat about Khalil Mack, if you go on a points per snap basis, Khalil Mack and Carlos Dunlap over the last 2 years on a points per snap basis, 0.27. Khalil Mack on a per snap basis, 0.22. Carlos Dunlap has played 3 less games than Khalil Mack and has scored only 40 less points. And Carlos Dunlap don't cost shit. So go sell Khalil Mack to that Bears fan in your league. Go get you some Carlos Dunlap, my guy. Thanks for the info. No problem. Dynasty IDP is Jalen Smith droppable. And Dynasty, hell no. Especially if you're starting like 2, 3, 4 linebackers or, IDP flexes, shall we say. Because he's going to get jobs somewhere else. I mean, look at guys like Avery Williamson, CJ Mosley. I mean, these guys, Quan Alexander. I mean, if you're a serviceable starting middle linebacker with any kind of draft pedigree, I mean, your career is over when you say it's over, basically. My linebacker 1 is Martinez, so Bush is my LB2, is young stud, and third LB is on my bench. Yeah, I still think I'm going Bush with that one. All right, y'all, we're 12 minutes in. I'm trying to make my videos and shit a little bit shorter, so if you have more questions, pile them in there. I'll try to answer them at the end, but I'm going to tell you kind of how I'm viewing this week. Bear in mind, it is only week 2. This is going to seem kind of chalky. There's making a point in the season where I don't do like ranking so much anymore, just because it does become kind of chalk after a while when you kind of know who's starting, what positions, etc. But with the information we got this week, there were some big swings, there were some big moves. So I wanted to give you my top guys. As always, if you want my full rankings, go down to the comments. There's a link to idparmy.com. You can go to the website, check out the rankings for everybody. I'm just going to do my top 12 at each position. I was looking, I had Chandler Jones last week at 12. He ended up coming in as obviously number 1 GOAT defensive player. I mean, if you watched football all last week, you know what I'm talking about. So, all right, let's talk about these linebackers. You might have noticed my studio's shifted a little because this graphic is so friggin' big. Okay, so number 1 for the week, like I said, it's going to be kind of chalky. We got Darius Leonard. Again, monitor this ankle injury. And this is Darius Leonard. Okay, he's always got something going on. There's always some sort of weird little injury with him. And that's not a knock. He's still amazing. But it's just always there. He's like the LaShawn McCoy of linebackers. You got Roquan Smith at 2. I got Zach Cunningham at 3. He plays Cleveland this week. I really like that game. Cleveland showed they could, Houston at Cleveland. Yeah. Joe Schobert's playing Las Vegas. I know his snaps weren't quite up there, but I'm projecting. I'm putting faith out there this week he gets up there. And they're just going to throw across the middle to Waller all day long. These linebackers are going to have a heyday. Blake Martinez, obviously number 5. Not obviously number 5, but he's always a top 5 linebacker. You just can't take him out. So I really like Deion Jones here. It says Atlanta's playing Tennessee. I I don't know if that's right. Are these right? Somebody tell me if this is right. Because I'm also seeing it's the Seahawks. Oh, it's Tampa Bay. Okay, gosh, my eyes. Okay, I knew that was wrong. So Tampa Bay, I'm expecting a lot of passing in this game, similar to what we saw on the opener. The run game, these running backs are more a luxury than a necessity. If they can throw the ball, even short passes to all these good wide receivers, there's going to be so many plays going on. Deion Jones, I think, has a big week. And Brady, no shade, love Brady. I mean, he does throw interceptions, and Deion Jones has a knack for finding the ball in the air across the middle. Bobby Wagner comes in at 7. They play Tennessee. Tennessee look like shit. Bobby Wagner does blitz a decent amount. If that line is getting beat up by that front, and Jamal Adams is also stalking around the Marauder. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet, but apparently in France, safeties are called marauders in football. So the Marauder, Jamal Adams is going to be out there stalking around. I can see Bobby Wagner getting home for a clean one. We got Devin White in the Atlanta game, Tremaine Edmonds, Eric Kendricks. I know everything about Eric Kendricks is unsustainable. It's been that way for 18 months now. Just keep put your chips on him. Levante David coming in at 11 and Patrick Queen at 12. I really like Patrick Queen this year a lot. He's growing on me. He got home for a sack last week. And I do not think that this Ravens offense is super duper good. I mean, they're okay, but we saw that they struggled the other night, and this defense is going to need playmakers keep showing up. And so I think a lot of that's going to fall on Patrick Queen. He's the young buck there right now. He's kind of one of their premier playmakers. He was drafted to be that. If this Ravens team has to shift away from being, this groovy, cool, hip offense to, just winning games again, like they did the other night where they didn't win, but they almost did. And they're going to be close games. They're going to be grinding games, and they're probably going to be defensive plays that are difference makers. If y'all play IDP, you start to notice how much defense really does matter in games. Look at the last 3 or 4 plays of that game the other night. Interception, sacks, forced fumbles. Those made the game. They swung the whole tide of the game multiple times too. So those are my top 12 linebackers. Like I said, I'm not going deep. Go check out the rankings on the site. Go check out the Ultimate IDP Index. Guys and gals, actually, I haven't run this on the channel for a while, but I'm going to. But go check out the index. We have an injury tracker. We got all the week 1 snaps in there. I'm adding tweets that are coming out about players, different evaluations. We got the tags in there. We're getting ready for next season already. We got some cool things coming offensively, et cetera, et cetera. But get in the Patreon, help us build this thing out, make it even more legit. Everybody that's in it loves it. If you don't have it, you're going to lose somebody that's got it. So here, take a peek at this. What's good, IDP Army? It's Jordan Rains, and quickly I want to tell you guys today about the big project I've been working on, the Ultimate IDP Index. The Ultimate IDP Index is the #1 resource for IDP fantasy football players, rookies or veteran for 2021. Inside, you're going to find contract information, tiered IDP rankings, detailed player production profiles going back to 2017, suggested trade values, and a whole lot more, including unique write-ups, unique videos that will only be available within the Ultimate IDP Index. But to me, probably the most valuable thing is the fact that the trade value estimation tool is going to be updated weekly, so you'll always be aware of what a player is worth in your Dynasty League at any given moment. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for the IDP Army Patreon today. Patreon.com/the IDP Army. Join the Black Ops tier and join the IDP Army today. Shout out to the Patreons, y'all. Warm my heart. It's awesome hanging out in the Discord, seeing you guys talk to each other, seeing everybody talk about start sits. We're dropping news bombs in there. It's a good time. It's awesome to see IDP growing. I feel like I say that all the time, but it really is a beautiful thing. So let's go ahead and move on to our defensive line rankings. Obviously, this is obvious. Okay, obviously TJ Watt's number 1. Okay, it doesn't matter who's playing. Then we got Myles Garrett number 2. He's playing Houston, which is going to be a great matchup. Should be interesting to see how that line fares against some real hitters. Last week we had a little feel good story. Week 1 of the NFL feel good story. Houston gets a win. Tyrod Taylor is just out there mustaching, smiling. All the running backs, all the garbage running backs no one wants, they all got a touchdown. I mean, just give it up for Houston, okay? But it's over now. Okay, if they're playing Baker Mayfield, they're playing Myles Garrett. It's going to be a bloodbath. Feel good story is over, y'all. So then we got Joey Bosa at 3. Dude is a monster. Doesn't matter who his coach is, doesn't matter how they are playing him. He is just he wins basically every single snap. Super high tackle floor, much higher than Myles Garrett's. So if you're looking for a safer play, with the same upside, actually more upside. Joey Bosa also has bigger games in his career than Myles Garrett ever has. He gets Dallas this week. Their offensive line's banged up. Dak got sacked once or twice last week. Plenty of pressure, but Dak is getting to that point as a quarterback to where he's wily. He's not going to go down easy. So it's going to be a fun matchup to see how Bosa and Staley and Derwin and all these guys handle Dallas. But I got him pretty high this week because I just trust Joey Bosa. Chase Young, he's playing tonight. I got him ahead of Montez Sweat, and at this point in my life, I don't really know why that is because I actually love Montez Sweat, I think, more than Chase Young. But I just don't want y'all to bitch me out in the comments, so I just have it like that. But he's got a good game tonight against, and those guys could both be back to back. Probably Montez Sweat, you could swap them, but they get Danny Dimes. He sucks. There's going to be turnovers in this game. There's going to be pressures in this game. There's going to be tackles for loss in this game. There are going to be interceptions in this game. And it's all going to start when the ball is snapped at the line, okay? And these guys are going to crush. So big weeks for them. I just don't see a world where they come in under. I just don't see a world where they come in under 12 points a pop. Shaquille Barrett, ATL, great matchup. Jason Pierre-Paul could also be up here this high. Honestly, I don't know why I don't have him higher. Shame on me. But Jason Pierre-Paul, Atlanta, you saw Matt Ryan. I mean, the gif, or not even gif, the meme of him just face down in the dirt. I mean, poor guy. This team is in some serious trouble. Its offensive line looks like they're in some serious trouble. They're getting pressured by one of the better defensive lines in the league. I mean, I know every year the Eagles grade out really good at everything, but it never really translates. But they looked good against Atlanta. So obviously, Shaq Barrett and company are going to just completely eat them alive. Nick Bosa gets Philly. I don't really know what to make of Philly's line. I just know Nick Bosa is a beast. Even though he didn't get a huge snap share this last week, I think it was only like 55, maybe even 45%. Let me double check that here in Dirks. What did he come up with? He had just a little over 55% of the snaps. That's good. But, you go 3 players down from him. Max Crosby played 91% of snaps. So when push comes to shove, these things do matter. Nick Bosa still riding with the talent. I think the snaps can go up. So I'm going to stick with that. Chandler Jones comes in number 8 for me. Probably a little low, but I don't want to get too bullish on putting him in the top, whatever. He is playing Minnesota. That's good. But, Kirk Cousins is a very wily quarterback. He's got some good protection in Dalvin Cook back there who can pass protect pretty well. So I don't think it's going to be a massive 5-sack game. I think he got that out of his system. But I do see it as a good game for him. I think he probably will come up with a sack, probably a turnover. Again, I love my guy Cousins, but he loose with the ball. Okay, it happens. But Chandler Jones has some upside that's kind of crazy. I was just talking about Myles Garrett and realized upside compared to Joey Bosa. It's like, I've heard people flippantly say things like, TJ Watt, even people are like, TJ Watt, he'll just blow up and have a 3-sack game. I don't think TJ Watt's ever had a 3-sack game. I think the biggest game he's had is 2, maybe 2.5, So even though he consistently week in, week out goes out and just pounds the pavement, gets a sack or 2, makes a couple impact plays, we still have never really seen him have that game where it's total domination like we saw from Chandler Jones. Conversely, and that's maybe not the right way to say it because TJ Watt does totally dominate. But Chandler Jones in the past 3 years, we've seen Chandler Jones go out and put up 45, 50-point games several times. I think this is his 3rd or 4th 50-plus point game since 2018. So when you play a guy like Chandler Jones, you're getting not just a theoretical ceiling, but you're getting a realized ceiling with a player. When you play TJ Watt, yeah, any given week, TJ Watt could blow up for 3 sacks. That's something cute that you'll hear people say. In his career, he still has not done that. As crazy as it may seem to you, me, the whole world. But Chandler Jones has, and he's blown up for more than that, or not more than that. So Neil Hunter coming in next, similar to Joey Bosa. I just want to bring up that he does have a very high tackle floor for the DL position, and he is playing shit ton of snaps. He played 87%. Love to see that. Max Crosby had 2 sacks the other night. The Ravens' offensive line looks pretty shitty. So if you want to stream somebody, the guy right below him, I guess I don't know, stream. I don't really believe in streaming, but Chris Jones is going to be playing Baltimore. He's going to eat Lamar alive. Lamar, he does a lot of cool stuff. He runs around, yada, yada, yada. That's great. Doesn't mean he doesn't get sacked. Apparently, his offensive lineman, Staley, I believe his name is, or I can't remember his name. Ronnie Staley, maybe. Apparently, he was just dog trash the other night, and he was getting beat up by Max Crosby. So now he gets to play Chris Jones off the edge or whatever. I mean, just Chris Jones is a good play this week. And then Matt Judon, New York Jets offensive line, they lost Mekhi Becton, and they have the rookie in there, and they just don't have it. I mean, they have Corey Davis, but I mean, like, if Corey Davis doesn't get open, Zach Wilson's going to be holding the ball. If Zach Wilson's holding the ball against Bill Belichick, he's going to get hurt. Okay, Matt Judon's going to be one laying down the punishment. I also have Kyle Van Noy pretty highly ranked. Again, click down below, go to the rankings on the site. You can see where I have him as well. All right, and I'm going to read you all now my top defensive backs again. Bear in mind, we're only in week 2. It's going to be a little chalky. Don't hate. Jamal Adams, number 1. He should have had a sack this last week. They called him off sides, but I don't know about all that. Budda Baker, good game. I could see him with an interception again. He doesn't get a lot of those, but Cousins, he's been known to throw an interception or two. And if he's getting breathed down his neck pretty hard by Chandler Jones and TJ Watt, Budda Baker could feast. We got Jesse Bates and Von Bell, both, again, if you play IDP at all, or if you're new to IDP, something you need to know is that, oh my gosh, Cincinnati Bengals safeties are money. Okay, they have been for like 4 years in a row now. Doesn't matter who it is, they're money. Both of them are good. Von Bell played a lot of box snaps for all my box safety heads out there. For everyone in those box safety snap premium leagues, there you go. Go get you some of that. Then we got Jesse Bates. He's going to get his interceptions. He's going to get his pass deflections. He's going to get his tackles. Like, nobody's stopping Jesse Bates. Last year, PFF gave him the official stamp of approval. He's actually good. All right. Logan Ryan comes in at 5. Again, this is a big game tonight. If you're playing on MFL and you have him, he's a cornerback on there. He's actually playing safety. This happened last year, too. He's basically a cheat code. And 2 years ago, if you played IDP, Logan Ryan was the number 1 overall defensive back. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't talk about him enough this offseason. That's on me. I'm fixing that. He's up in the top of my rankings now because we've seen him do it. Even last year when he wasn't a top guy, I still think what he finished. I mean, in points per game, I think he was top 20. I think even end of season, he was top 20. I think he might have missed a little time. So I'm getting back on Logan Ryan because he can do everything. I mean, he can blitz. He can play linebacker snaps. He can play safety snaps. He can play corner snaps. I mean, he's one of the more interesting NFL defenders, and he's going to have a big season. Jordan Poyer, I'm not going to tell you about Jordan Poyer. You should know about Jordan Poyer. Harrison Smith, I'm not going to tell you about Harrison Smith. You should know about him. Again, these are going to be kind of chalky. Derwin James, God, I mean, there's nothing else to say about him. You all hear about him from every big NFL media every second they can get a chance. They've already given him the Defensive Player of the Year for this year, all right? So there you go. Minka, now I will say this. He had a 10-tackle game this week. I don't think Minka Fitzpatrick has ever had a 10-tackle game in his career. I'm going to have to vet that, but I'm like 80% sure. Minka Fitzpatrick usually puts up like 70 tackles a season, 75. He had 10 this last week. That just, kind of start doing the math in your head and you can say, oh shit, like that's a lot for Minka. He was playing downhill a lot. I don't know if he's going to be playing more aggressively like he was. Maybe that was just a product of the game they were in. He was just getting those tackles, but I'm bringing him up my rankings a little bit just because with Minka, if we are going to look at even one more tackle per game with the big play upside that he possesses, with interceptions specifically, not just tackles and sacks. He doesn't get behind the line of scrimmage because he is more of a free safety, but he is one of the more, just ride it in every year interception guys. If we're going to get that an uptick in the tackles, and we're going to have that same kind of upside, he's going to have a monster season. He's already started out with a good one. I know he's just a free safety. He's not a box safety. Some people may get in their feels about that, but let's just fade that. Justin Simmons. Here's another 11. Here's another free safety that everyone loved to dump on. Now, they'll tell you that they were really in his corner all offseason, but they weren't. That's my man, Tracy Walker. Again, if you go look at what Tracy Walker did this year on a points per snap basis, you can check out, I don't know what video it was, but I wrote an article on Dynasty Nerds about it. He was a guy I went out of my way to say, if you dig into what Tracy Walker actually does per snap, he's the same player he's always been. 2 years ago, he was a top 10 safety, top 5 safety, I believe. Last year, what's his face from, I can't think of the guy's name now. You know who I'm talking about, the nuclear scientist with the big beard that rode around the four-wheeler for the Detroit Lions. What was his name? The coach. Somebody watching this, tell me. Bail me out here. Anyway, he's gone. Tracy Walker had a sack in this game. He's playing free safety. He's led the team in tackles the last 2 years. Even last year, he only played like 50, 60% of the team's total snaps. He led the team in tackles. All right? Stop fading Tracy Walker. And don't try to rewrite history because we got the receipts. And then Xavier McKinney. All right, this one's going to kill me because Jabril Peppers is not in the top 12. I am obsessed with Jabril Peppers. Everyone knows that. I love an underdog. For whatever reason, people just do not like Jabril Peppers now. I mean, I remember, again, I've said this on this channel before, I don't watch college football, but I remember hearing about Jabril Peppers nonstop on the radio and just like on ESPN the year he came out of Michigan. So for me to know about a college football player and a defender, that means he was actually at one point in time considered consensus very, 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 very good. And now everyone just hates him. They just want to fade him. He sucks in coverage, sucks at this, sucks at that. Even when he does do something successful, they don't acknowledge it. So people have already written him off. Tonight's game will be interesting. We'll have to see how the snaps play up or shake up. But they gave most of the snaps to Logan Ryan and Xavier McKinney, and I'm adjusting. Okay, I'm not saying you cannot play Jabril Peppers, but he's now more in that IDP flex conversation until I see these snaps come up. Don't drop him. Don't trade him away to some vulture in your league who tries to send you some crappy cornerback like Jalen Ramsey. If some guy in your league sends you Jalen Ramsey for Jabril Peppers, do not do that. Okay. Tell him to hit me up. Don't put in no stupid trade calculator either. Those things are garbage. All right. I'm going to answer a few more of these questions we got here in the chat. I appreciate everyone who's here with me today. I honestly didn't expect so many people to show up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. But hey, we got football coming, baby, so I'm sure we're all lit. All right. So where are we at here? Man, y'all got a bunch of questions. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I might have to start Rasheem Green over Matt. Good Lord, LOL. Yeah, I mean, honestly, after what we saw Tannehill go through this last week, you're the one who's going to have to live with Khalil Mack going off on your bench if that happens. But when's the last time Khalil Mack really went off? I mean, really went off. Ask yourself. All right. Who do you think will get productive fantasy jobs to the safety position in Washington football, Collins or Curl? I mean, I think they're both going to be useful. I mean, even this last week, Curl only played like, 40-something% of snaps. He still put up points. It's not like he put up 0. There's guys that play all kinds of snaps and put up 0s. So, I mean, at least they're playing a position where if they let you down, they're not completely sinking you into the dirt. I still believe in the talent of Curl. So, same guy, different-ish question. Who do you think will get the productive fantasy job, the safety position, Collins, Curl, or even McCain? Okay, basically the exact same question. Again, it's kind of all three until we just find out who the top 2 are. I still believe in Curl. I think Collins is probably – I think they're playing Collins because they feel like they have to. I don't know how long that's going to last. KC, start. KC, Snead, or Baltimore Everett as my CB2. I would definitely start Snead. Definitely. Dylan Harris. Do you think Alex England's linebacker to have a tackle-heavy league or over Patrick Queen? Over Patrick Queen right now, probably not. That was another thing I wanted to bring up, or I thought I brought up maybe earlier, but I want to reiterate it. We did see Singleton snaps, who a lot of people had projected as a linebacker one for the Eagles, go down. Eric Wilson actually played more snaps than him. So that's something we're going to have to monitor again this next week. It kind of sucks in some of these linebacker spots like that because, Singleton kind of came out of nowhere. Wilson is a new signing from the for free agency from the excuse me, the Vikings. So we don't have like an incumbent who we can kind of just fall back on, or a truly established incumbent. We have one, Singleton, but I mean, he was nobody until he was somebody like week 3 last year. So yeah, here we go. He's bringing the same thing up. Also, Singleton only played 61% of snaps. Do you think it was because of blood or no? Honestly, I don't know. I didn't watch that game. I don't like the Eagles, so I don't watch Eagles games unless I have to, unless they're on prime time and they're forcing me. Let's go, IDP Army. Yeah, this guy gets it. IDP Army, what up, what up? Pick up Schobert. Yeah, do what he says. All right, Farrell B says Simmons or Peppers? Simmons. Sucks to say that. I hate it, but I'll say it. Noah Fant or Rob Gronkowski this week? Dude, obviously Gronk. Dude just had 2 touchdowns. He's playing with Brady. I hope you don't take this as an attack, my guy, Noah. But I would much rather have any player having the ball thrown to him whose name is Robert Gronkowski and his quarterback's name Tom Brady than a guy named Noah Fant and Teddy Bridgewater. Just think about that for a minute. You knew the answer in your heart the whole time, man. Keep an eye on Kenneth Murray. Yeah, I agree. Not a massive game, but I thought it was interesting that Tranquil didn't get a lot of snaps either. It might be another situation where Kazir White is going to be more fantasy relevant than we wanted to admit. Yeah, Simmons, same. Derek Mock. Hey, Derek, what's up? I saw you on Twitter earlier today. Thoughts on CJ Mosley? I've always been people might call me a hater, but I've always faded CJ Mosley because he's always been gassed up like crazy. Now he's not, so I'm in. You know what I mean? He's still the same playmaker. He's been in the league a while, but he's still under 30. So there's nothing not to like about CJ Mosley. And this Jets defense is going to be on the field a ton. I mean, I know when people say you can't just flippantly say things like that, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, is it not true? Like, their offense is not going to be able to sustain drives. Like, maybe they'll have yards and points at the end of games, but I just don't see a world where they're controlling the ball, which means CJ Mosley and the boys are going to be out there. And even if the defense is good, they're going to go right back out. So, Big Worm on the YouTube. And y'all, everyone who's listening on the podcast, appreciate you for hanging in there with us. Come subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have fun over here too. He says Pierce, Green, or Ingram. I'm probably going to go Ingram. He looked really good this week. I mean, he was winning his assignments easily. I mean, he's never been a bad pass rusher. I know he didn't get home with any sacks. What was it last year? But he's a beast. I mean, he's a beast in a way that Pierce and Green, I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not. But Melvin Ingram's got, check his resume. Watch him play. He's a beast. And that's not any different now with him being somewhere new. How do you feel about Houston linebacker Cunningham? I love him. I know this week he did not come through with a big game, but he played 100% of snaps. That was a very rare occurrence for him last year and the year before. So with his tackle efficiency, which is completely unrepeatable, which it really is, but he still has been a higher tackle efficiency guy year over year than a lot of people. So I would still say his average or his mean or his homeostasis or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what the right word is higher than most people's. So even though this week, if it was a little bit low, I don't think that it's going to stay low. His tackle numbers will be fine. And I think he's still a great play. Like I said, I have him at my linebacker 3 this week. Let me pull that up here for you, my guy. Yeah, he's my linebacker 3 this week. So I'm still in. He's playing Cleveland too. They're a team that tries to control the ball. So there should be plenty of opportunities, I think. All right, I'm going to answer like 4 more questions and I'm going to get off here because I'm sure the people listening on the podcast are like, what is this dude doing? All right, worried Bucks are going to target wide receivers this week since the Falcons' TVs are terrible. Yeah, I think that's true too, but again, it's Gronk, it's Brady, it's the Bucks. I mean, if they can run it up, they're going to run it up. I mean, let's say they do get up, throwing a touchdown to Godwin, Evans, and Brown. Why not just throw another one to Gronk? I mean, Tom Brady likes to stunt. Don't let that pretty smile and that super humility crap fool you. He wants to go out there and dunk on people, especially now he's like 45. Thanks a lot, boss. I got Ingram last night. Great minds think alike. Yeah. And since Jerry Jeudy is out, Fant is now number 2. True, in theory. Again, we don't. That's a little bit of projection there. And even so, what's the absolute ceiling of the number 2 pass catcher for Teddy Bridgewater versus the number 3 or 4 pass catcher for the fucking 2016 Golden State Warriors of football? Playing with DT, thoughts on Cam Jordan? I don't know what playing with DT means. Maybe you're playing with defensive tackles, but Cam Jordan, not a good game, but he'll bounce back. I mean, that's what defensive linemen do. They bounce back. So Fletcher Cox, I don't know. Again, when people ask me about the Eagles, I answer the question, but that's kind of how I feel answering it. I like Josh Sweat. I like Anthony Harris. I'm not Fletcher Cox. I hear his name brought up a lot. He's real great, but I don't have any real super opinion on him. DL. All right, cool. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all swinging in here. Listen, I'll be back on Sunday morning to do the live stream. It'll be me, and I don't know who's going to be on with me this week. But join us 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll be in here answering your start-sit questions, going over our lineups, going over the news, trying to keep you guys on top of things, help you make those decisions. Do me a favor, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. Go share this with one of your league mates who is not as good as fantasy at you. And, just say, hey, I saw this guy. I think you could really benefit from this because you suck at fantasy football. And, yeah. You can get a little jab in there and do a little promo for the Army. We'd appreciate that. Sign up for the Patreon. And until tomorrow, when I bring you guys the fades and all that other crap, take her easy.
Let the rain hit the sand. Build a house on a rock, got a plan. Gotta get stocks, keep them bands. Hear the clock tick, blades on the fan. Used to be mundane on a Monday. Now you have fun day on a Sunday. Cause you switching it up and you living it up. You ain't getting enough.